we go. Steelers and Ravens, their AFC wildcard matchup. Ravens first possession, might as well get the party started. Derrick Henry gets the direct snap. Huge hole, big game. Minkah Fitzpatrick get down on the ground. Henry ran for 186, most rushing yards in a playoff game in Ravens history, and he's really, really strong. Later in the drive, Lamar Jackson going to zip one to the end zone. Pretty release. Rashad Bateman score. The first opening drive touchdown of Lamar's playoff career, his 7th playoff game. Ravens up 7-zip. Lamar threw for 175 and 2 scores. Second quarter, Lamar hands off to Henry, and he barrels his way into the end zone. And Mike Tomlin can only watch. Ravens up 14-0. Third quarter, it's 21-7. Ravens looking for more from the Steelers' 44. Lamar hands to Henry, and Henry, goodbye. Steelers allowed 299 rushing yards, the most they've allowed in a game since 1975. And Derrick Henry just ran through every Steeler defender that was on the field. Ravens win 28-14, advance to the AFC divisional round either at Buffalo or hosting Houston. Hannah.
Well, NFL analysts Herm Edwards and Damien Woody are with us. This is just astounding. The Ravens outrushed the Steelers 299-29 last night. So, D. Woody, what statement did they make? The way they played last night, what did it tell you about how far they could go this postseason?
Yeah, Hannah, the Baltimore Ravens chose violence last night. And going back to last year, remember in the AFC Championship game how much the talk surrounded, Todd Monken was the inability or lack of running the football. Well, guess what? The Baltimore Ravens made sure that narrative wasn't going to show up in this playoff game. I mean, they literally just physically abused and beat up the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And I think that's going to be the recipe for the Baltimore Ravens moving forward. You can never forget who you have in that backfield. We talk about Lamar Jackson so much, and he's just been phenomenal this season. But King Henry, to me, is the catalyst to this whole thing. His physicality, his ability to wear on defenses, that's going to be the key for this Baltimore Ravens defense. And when they're able to run the ball like they ran last night, they're going to be a hard out for any team in the AFC.
Yeah, this is the Baltimore Ravens' identity. And when you watch this team the last month, it's really relied on their running game, whether with the runner, obviously, with Henry or Lamar Jackson. Now, and off that came the ability to throw the football as well. So they're a very balanced offense. I mean, this was a hard game to watch yesterday. If you watch them play against a perennial football team that has always been in the playoffs, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, they dismantled them yesterday.
Yeah, it was Derrick Henry's 4th playoff game with at least 150 yards rushing. That's tied for the most in history. But then we do look to that other side as the Steelers limp to the end of the season, a 5-game losing streak. Questions about where they go at quarterback. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are both free agents. Even people questioning a Hall of Fame coach in Mike Tomlin because of a 6th straight playoff loss. Damien, where do you think the Steelers should go from here?
Yeah, Hannah, listen, I think those questions are going to be talked about, whether it's with us or in the building. This thing in Pittsburgh is bigger than the quarterback. It's bigger than the offensive system. We've seen this Pittsburgh Steelers defense over the last month, get shredded up and down by opponents. So I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, everything needs to be on the table. Look, we know that Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach. Mike Tomlin is still one of the best coaches that we have in the league. But sometimes a new voice is needed. And I think that's going to have to be a discussion that needs to be had in Pittsburgh.
Do you think it's a new voice or new personnel is needed?
Well,
How do you see it?
I think personnel in this sense, especially defensively. Look, when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you close your eyes, you go, oh, defense. Those guys that wear those black hats and wear that yellow uniform, they always play good. That's been the case for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As much as we want to harp on their offense, the one thing they could bank on, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, is your defense. That hasn't been the same in a while now.
Obviously, they didn't have the running game that they're used to having there in Pittsburgh. And really, since Ben Roethlisberger, they have not figured out quarterback. Russell Wilson says he wants to stay. For much more on this, here's Adam Schefter with Jay. Hey, guys.
Hey, Hannah, Adam Schefter here, senior NFL insider. Okay, let's piggyback off the conversation. What are you hearing about the future of things in Pittsburgh?
Well, there are going to be a lot of questions that this team faces. And I think one of the problems it faces, it's in a division where they have to face Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and a Cleveland Browns team that has the #2 overall pick and is going to be in prime position to draft a quarterback. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers have rotated in quarterbacks. Russell Wilson's a free agent. Justin Fields is a free agent. We don't know what's going to happen at that position. There's going to be chatter and conversation about Mike Tomlin's future. It feels like the city of Pittsburgh, a great majority of people want change there. That's not the Rooney way. It's not the way the Steelers have operated. And I think people across the National Football League know how great a coach Mike Tomlin is, but that doesn't change the tone in the city. And the fact of the matter is, there may be teams that check in and call Pittsburgh to see if they would be willing to deal Mike Tomlin. But remember this, one of those teams already looked into it, and they found out that Mike Tomlin has a no-trade clause in his contract. So if Mike Tomlin ever were to be dealt, it would have to be with his permission, his consent, and he would have to be on board with everything that happened there. Look, this is a team that's going to have to go through any number of key decisions this offseason. Quarterback is one of them. But I also remember when this team faced questions when Bill Cowher was later in his career, and fans wanted him gone.
They did, yeah.
And the family, the Rooney family, never wavered. They kept him on, and he wound up winning a Super Bowl.
Just a reminder, the Steelers have had 3 head coaches, 1, 2, 3, since 1969. All right, 3 more games on the schedule today, including Eagles hosting the Packers. What more can you tell us about the health of both quarterbacks? Start with Jalen Hurts.
Well, here's the interesting part. The Eagles have no limitations in their game plan today. They are operating their full offense. Jalen Hurts is going to be out there, and he's going to be playing, and it sounds like they're going to be running their offense. They run their offense despite the fact that he just cleared concussion protocol this past week and he sat out last week's game. Jalen Hurts will be out there, as will Jordan Love out there. Now, again, I think there are questions about his elbow and his hand and how it's going to affect him today. I think the Eagles are curious about this. We'll see if it has any impact on the throws he makes. But it is not in question that he will be out there. He will be playing today. He's off the injury report. He's going to be out there, and everybody will be watching him early on to see if there's any impact on the throws he makes.
All right, thank you, sir. Adam's coming up with much more on postseason NFL Countdown at the top of the hour. Hannah, back over to you.
And Jay, for much more on this wild card matchup, these 2 teams coming full circle this season. They played week 1 in Brazil. Saquon Barkley scored 3 touchdowns in a game in which Jordan Love was injured. Now the Packers are back in the playoffs after dismantling the Cowboys on the road a year ago, but they face a Philly team that has won 12 of its last 13. Jalen Hurts is back as Sal Palantonio joins us now from Lincoln Financial Field. We also know that Saquon Barkley, 2,000-yard season, but he rested, had that final weekend off. I know you were at Eagles practice all week as Hurts was working his way back. What were your observations, Sal?
Hannah, it seems like such a long time ago I was talking to you from Brazil. Week 1, remember those days? Seems like a lifetime ago when the Packers and Eagles played in Sao Paulo, but here we are in South Philadelphia, and I was at practice, and I was looking for 3 things. I was looking to see how Jalen Hurts moved, and he moved with authority. He moved with confidence. Then I was looking for how he was throwing the football. His arm strength was there. The ball placement was there. So he had arm strength and he had accuracy, precise ball placement. And then I was looking to see what was he specifically working on. And you can see him straddling the 4x4 tackling dummies to work on his footwork and his balance. Now, Jalen Hurts does do a lot of work normally on his footwork. Tries to stay perpendicular to the line of scrimmage so that his ball doesn't sail. But in this particular instance, balance is so important. And here's the concussion protocol that the NFL puts out. You flip it over, and he was between phases 4 and 5. And when you're in phase 4 and trying to get out of phase 4, they test neurocognitive imbalance testing.
Đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Đây là những sản phẩm của mình. Chuẩn bị tô màu để gửi tặng tất cả các bạn. Đấy, những sản phẩm, những con vật và đồ vật. Đây, đồ vật đây các bạn này. Sản phẩm của mình rất chi là nhiều. Đấy. Và đây là hộp sáp màu của mình này, một đồ dùng để hỗ trợ mình tô màu. Hỗ trợ mình tô màu những sản phẩm đẹp để tặng tất cả các bạn. Và bây giờ Các bạn cùng theo dõi mình nha.
Bây giờ chi tiết của tô màu nha các bạn.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng nhé. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là dứa mật. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là ong nâu. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm này nha. Chọn màu cam nhé. Còn đây là màu cam của mình đây. Tiếp đến là màu đến là màu tím nha. Mọi người lên đỏ đây nha. Đây là màu hồng này nhá. Các bạn ơi, bây giờ mình chọn một bàn nhé.
Không sao bạn ơi.
Chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Đây là những sản phẩm của mình chuẩn bị tô màu để gửi tặng tất cả các bạn. Đấy. Những sản phẩm, những con vật và đồ vật. Đây, đồ vật đây các bạn này. Sản phẩm của mình rất chi là nhiều. Đấy. Và đây là hộp sáp màu của mình này, một đồ dùng để hỗ trợ mình tô màu, hỗ trợ mình tô màu những sản phẩm đẹp để tặng tất cả các bạn. Và bây giờ các bạn cùng theo dõi mình nha.
Bây giờ mình sẽ tiếp tục tô màu nha các bạn.
Rồi mình xỏ màu hồng nhá. Mọi người ơi, màu vàng đây, màu vàng đây nha. Để mình xin mình nha. Mình sẽ đến một sản phẩm đây. Mọi người ơi, rau của mình đây, rau của mình hoàn thành rồi, video của mình đến đây là kết thúc nha. Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là mặt trời. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là bí ngô. Bí ngô nhá. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha.
Tô màu xong nào nữa.